So, for the first time in what feels like forever, we have been shown a key piece of the Bazaar strategy. The hero skills. These things are like your hero powers in other games like Hearthstone. They buff up your character or give your character that flavour and spice to do specific things. But there's something very interesting going on with the different, let's say, tiers of these items. Which, by the way, we said this before, but now we're looking at them live on a stream that will end up on the Bazaar Twitch video section. These icons are beautiful. Like, the coloring is so perfect for what it is. Like, they've just nailed it. Like, that's obviously a neutral. These are all pigs. It's just pretty. I like them. I'm glad they've gone with this sort of design. The only thing is, this won't be too much of a problem for me because this is how I do shit anyway. The only thing is, people that rely on color more to, like, pick out specific items. So if you're playing, I don't know, if you're playing Hearthstone Battlegrounds, right? You know the colors that certain cards represent, so at a glance, you can just grab at them. You won't have it for this. However, we don't need to be APM gods to play the Bazaar, right? Because the Bazaar gives you as much time as you need per turn. So, hover over every single item if you want. And yeah, look into the hero powers you're buying. Because where will it matter, right? You're going to see it on the enemy when you're fighting them. That's real time, but there's nothing you can do about it. The shit's already gone at that point. I guess when you're picking who to fight at the end of a day, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but the implications of this art style is when you're picking who to fight at the end of the day, if it doesn't specifically say the name of the hero skills and it just shows you the icons of the hero skills, then you are A, going to need to spend more time looking at it, and B, you're really going to need to know your hero skill icons. But I doubt that's going to be a thing. I assume that it will at least give you the name, if not, when you hover over an enemy, it will show you their hero skills and give you their effects. Or maybe it'll be like a window-in-window thing where you can then hover over the icon and then get the effect. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. And I think, artistically, this is perfect. But mechanically, if there is anything that relies on you being able to tell the difference between different skills, it might cause a problem. But I have high hopes that that's not going to be the case, and that's why they went with this art style, because it is just a perfect fit when you have the opportunity to do something this uniform. Rather than nitpicking over the art style and what they've chosen to do with hero skills, should we actually have a look at the hero skills and see what they do? Let's start with... We'll go backwards. We'll start with a very sort of level playing field, a neutral starter item. Armored. It gives you 20 armor. That's it. That is 1/5 of your starting health if we're still starting with 100 health, which we may not. But for the sake of this, let's just assume that this is worth 1/5 of starting health. This is 20 points worth of damage mitigation. That's going to be a quite a nice basis to go off of. Now, this doesn't have a cost, which is unfortunate, so we're not going to be able to see how cost-effective this armor is compared to some of the other hero skills we'll look at in a minute, but I want this to be our baseline, right? 20 armor is armored. It's a neutral, so anyone can take it. And armor, for anyone that doesn't know, is a hero stat that at the beginning of every fight will apply 20 shielding to your character. That's every neutral fight. That's every hero fight at the end of the day. Any fight that you go into, 20 shielding will be applied. And I think it technically even works with NPCs that you fight over and over and over and over. So for example, the underwater guy, whose name I've forgotten, the one who made you fight like increasingly difficult underwater boards, I think you would get the 20 shielding every time you started a battle against them. So yeah, 20 armor, pretty solid. 1 coin is really cheap for this, considering that I've seen some of the costs of the others. But maybe this is one coin, 1 gold. Well, let's put this into some sort of perspective anyway. Let's go to the next one. So now we're going to dive into some Pygmalien hero skills. There's a whole bunch of them, and they're very versatile But don't forget we can also have 4 of these, so we can combine some of these to maybe, even though they're quite versatile, align their interests and maybe bounce off one of another. So bull market, you have strength equal to your income. And then at this point, Greg, I assume, who was taking these pictures, had 2 income, so gained 2 strength. Income is, I assume, a hero stat. It might not be a hero stat, but it's definitely an ability across your board. You can pick up items that give you a certain level of income. Income is gold that you earn at the beginning of the day. So if an item says gain 1 income for every item that you have, if you had 3 large items and that item, you'd have 4 income. And then, incidentally, if you had bull market, you would have 4 strength. So we're looking, it's just going to be nice to add if you've got a bunch of income, but like it has to be a healthy amount of income. Either a healthy amount of income from a lot of sources and then something that can make good use of a lot of strength, or a lot of things that can make use of some strength. Pygmalien is very good at this, and then something that generates income that you slap bull market on. So if you have, let's say that fine art these days is generating 2 income. Maybe that's what he had here, right? If you have brass knuckles, flail, and some other items like that, then bull market is really good. Basically, Pygmalien, good with strength items. Bull market, more strength for your money. Durable is another, by the way, that was 4 gold, bull market. Durable, another 4 gold. I think, do they end up all being 4 gold, the ones that we get to see? No, there is an 8 gold one in there. They appear to be 4 gold, or 8 gold, or we don't get to see. I don't know if that means 0 gold. We'll find out. Durable. When you use a weapon, heal for your strength. At this point, we had 8 strength, so we were healing for 8 health. This could be good, especially if you have, I mean, there are certain weapons that use strength very well, that have a short cooldown. Like Yo-Yo, for example. Yo-Yo fires very rapidly, so makes very good use of strength, because let's say you have, I'm just making stats up off the top of my head, let's say Yo-Yo does 1 damage every 1 second, and, I don't know, a greatsword deals 10 damage every 10 seconds. You'd think, okay, so applying 1 strength for each of those, the greatsword is going to go from 10 damage over 10 seconds to 11 damage over 10 seconds, but the Yo-Yo is going to double its damage, because instead of doing 1 damage every 1 second over a 10-second period, it'll do 2 damage every second. So you want, for strength, you want items that are hitting regularly, or hitting multiple times, like flail. Durable fits into that perfectly, because every time it hits, like, it's only a small amount of healing you're getting, right? 8 health, or however much strength you have as health, isn't a crazy amount. But if you're hitting so regularly because you have items that are very conducive with strength, then durable is going to be a great pickup as well. And we're starting to see where these hero stats, these hero skills rather, can come together in perfect harmony. Because we already have an example here. Bull market, say bull market is giving us 2 strength. Well, that's 2 extra healing that we'll be getting off every single thing that hits. So already, just within our first 2 Pygmalien items, we have Pygmalien skills, we have a nice little combo. Here's the next one, and this... I'll come up with a hypothesis of this at the end of looking through them all. But I have a theory about this now. This is fast. This just gives you 4 speed. Now, we did a big chunk of mathematical work on speed in the Discord server, which you haven't joined. There should be links down somewhere. All the Bazaar nerds, the Bazaar Giga nerds hang out there. There are diminishing returns on speed. So every single speed you pick up is less effective than the first. So, 4 speed, if it's early on and this is your first 4 speed, that's pretty decent. But it doesn't remotely compare to durable or bull market. But again, I have a theory for this that I'll get into at the end. And if you've guessed it already, then be sure to let me know, because I think everyone else might come to a similar conclusion. Sharpen is our next one. When you sell a weapon, a random weapon you own gets +2 damage. And this works well with Pygmalien, but it doesn't fit perfectly with Durable and Bull Market. You can see, right? So with Bull Market, we are gaining strength for whatever we're doing. And with Durable, we're using strength to gain something else. Sharpen does increase the total damage we're doing, but it does it through raw damage. So if we have something like Brass Knuckles, Sharpen's not really going to be that effective. Flail, however, Sharpen is perfectly good with. So I'm not saying that Sharpen is bad for Pygmalien. Sharpen definitely has some cohesiveness with Pygmalien's full roster of items, but only specific ones can abuse this hero skill, which is kind of important because it is random. Now, this is a randomness that you can kind of control, right? You know when you sell a weapon, a random weapon you own is going to gain +2 damage. So if you have 5 weapons and you sell one of them, one of those 4 weapons is going to get it. And if you just want it on the flail, that's a 1 in 4 chance, 25%. But if you only have one other weapon and a bunch of other support items, and you're buying and selling weapons to empower your flail, that's when this can pop off. So Sharpen, I think, is a bit more of a specific use case, or pick it up early on when you have much fewer items anyway. Again, no cost. Sticker Shock is our next one. That's like a price tag exploding on the little icon there. For 4 gold, the first time you use an item of value 8 or more, days equal to half of your income. So here we have another income-based one. So this is quite important actually, because we've only very, very barely and very briefly seen any sort of reference to income. And now we're starting to see more through these, which is interesting. Because if there are so many of these hero skills that have income, that tells me that income is going to be a lot more important in Pygmalion than we previously thought. Maybe there are no more items that like double their value. Maybe now they just give you income, like piggy bank. Anyway, an item of value 8 or more, if we had items that increase their value, that would be quite easy to get to. At this point, you're going to be moving quite late on in the game. However, shinies and fancies have cumulative value. So, if you're not sure what a shiny or a fancy is, it's kind of like the tier systems in Auto Battlers, right? If you have one item, so we've been talking about flail, let's stick with that. I have a flail. If I buy another flail, I don't have 2 flails, I actually just upgrade my flail to a shiny flail. The prices add together, so let's say flail cost 5 gold. Now it's a 10 gold flail that's shiny and deals extra damage, or does an extra thing. If I then find a third flail, I buy that 5 gold is added to my total again, so it's now a 15 gold fancy flail, and I get to pick from one of 2 options of what it will do. Maybe it's a fiery fancy flail, and it inflicts burning every time it does damage. Or maybe it's a gem-encrusted fancy flail, and every time it inflicts damage, I gain a gold. That's overpowered. Wouldn't be that. You get the point. So while Sticker Shock might seem like it's only going to be useful later on in the game, when you can pick up those much bigger luxury items that cost 8 to 10 gold, if you get a 4 gold item to shiny, or a 2 gold item to fancy, then you can use Sticker Shock. If you pick up, like, I don't know, let's say that Yo-Yo I think was solidly 1 gold. Let's say Truffles. Let's say Truffles are a 2 gold item, right? If you pick up 3 Truffles early on, and you see Sticker Shock come up in like a mid-game shop, that might be worth picking it up. But you have to have the income as well. So this is a very, very specific use case hero skill. But nonetheless, sounds like a lot of fun. Daze, by the way, slows enemy charge speed. Should have covered that. Thick Shield. This is the 8 gold hero skill. So double the previous ones. An item in your rightmost slot shields for 50% more. 50% more is smart. We don't want to say double, because 2 timesing anything will cause problems. But even 50% more, that's still a multiplicative bonus that can pop off. It doesn't say specifically how it works, but there are certain pig items, one of the scrapers, I believe, I think Skyscraper, that every time you use an item of a certain type, it will apply shielding. I assume that if that was in your rightmost slot, even if it's a different item triggering it, you would gain the bonus of Thick Shield. Pygmalien has a lot of shielding items. Pygmalien has a very good shielding build option. So Thick Shield is really going to add to your tankiness. If you've gone a shield build and you see Thick Shield, I think it's a must-buy. I absolutely think it's a must-buy. The potential that this thing can unlock is kind of ridiculous. So above and beyond any of the other ones we've seen so far, like Thick Shield is definitely the best hero skill we've seen so far, but it costs 8 gold, so you're paying for what you get. Last but not least of our hero skills that were released over the last couple of weeks, we have Unarmed Combat, which I love. It's a fist going through like a peace sign. I don't know why it has to be going through a peace sign, but it is. I guess it's breaking it. Like, in my head, I'm like, okay, peace sign, unarmed combat, that makes sense. Like, monks are all peaceful and shit. But no, it's breaking the peace sign because it's punching it with a fist. Anyway, if you own 0 weapons, you deal 5 damage when you use a non-weapon for 4 gold. This is up there. I think this is probably one of the better ones that Pig has access to. This will entirely depend on what short cooldown defensive items you can pick up. But unarmed combat, plus something like Thick Shield, for example, will make for quite a deadly duo for a shielding tank Pygmalion build, right? If you've got a lot of shielding items, apply shielding when something else happens. So if you've got a bunch of non-weapons, triggering quite quickly to keep your shields going, adding in unarmed combat is ideal, because it'll start chipping away at the enemy, so that when you come to the Sandstorm, which if you're playing a shield build, you're waiting for the sort of end of the regular fight to kick in. It used to be at 30 seconds, I don't know if they've changed that at all, but at 30 seconds a Sandstorm used to blow in that does increasing levels of damage to both players that will guarantee end the game at a certain point. So if you can chip them down just a little bit, so that they don't have any of their extra buffs coming into the Sandstorm, then with a shielding build, you're almost guaranteed to win. So unarmed combat, I think if you've got the space, this is going to be very, very nice in shielding and other defensive builds. Now, what did I mean earlier when I was talking about fast and how this applies to these? Well, I think there is an obvious hierarchy, but I think basically everyone has figured out by now. You have fast and sharpen. Fast is probably the weakest of them all, although the first 4 speed is pretty good. Sharpen is good, but it's a random weapon that gets the bonus, and it's not strength, which Pygmalien is so good with. Like, it's much better than just random damage, because you also get to keep it. If you sold the item that got the sharpen bonus, you lose that +2. If you get +2 strength, all of your new items have +2 strength, +2 damage. So these two are by far and large the worst of these new hero skills. Thick Shield is by far and large the best of the new hero skills. They have a massive disparity in price. Thick Shield says 8 gold, and Fast and Sharpen have no price tag. So, I would suggest that just like with weapons and other items, that as you're progressing through the day, you'll start to see more and more expensive items appear. As you progress through the day, and you go to, was it Nufu, was the hero skill merchant? You're going to hero skill merchants, and as you progress through the day, you'll get more and more expensive ones. However, I think this is telling us that the first hero skills that you get to see are free. When we last checked in with the game, you had a guaranteed hero skill encounter in day 1, because hero skills are an important part of how you build your character. Those, at the very least, I believe are going to be entirely free, if not hero skills for the first 2-3 days. Obviously, they're going to be less powerful. By day 3, perhaps you're getting 2 free and 2 4-cost ones. Not 3, 2 0-cost and 2 4-cost ones. And then you can pick, right? I don't have the money to spend on durable, so I'll just buy Sharpen for now. Or just take Sharpen for now. So I think we're seeing a really cool thing here. I'm very glad they have these free hero skills, if that's what they are in the game, because it's not going to punish you for going to look for a hero skill, right? you're already spending your sort of that 1/8 of your day, like what's that, like a good couple of hours going to this merchant. If they turn around and only offer you stuff you don't want, and that's going to cost you money, when money is already very, very tight early game, yeah, that would kind of suck. So I'm very happy to see these free hero skills. So you may have heard me talking about shiny and fancy items during that. Well, luckily for you, we have an entire guide revolving around shiny and fancies. It was an absolutely huge innovation that came into the game, and in my personal opinion, is done far better than any other auto battler out there. So it's definitely worth checking this out.